Welcome to Living Simple and Well, the audio diary for the woman who's doing her best to live a meaningful life, one boundary, one deep breath, one messy day at a time. Hosted by a girl just getting by. This podcast is your safe space for raw conversations, real life lessons, and tiny shifts that make a big impact. From navigating complicated relationships and motherhood meltdowns to curating a soft, slow morning routine and showing up for your dreams. We're talking about it all, vulnerably, honestly, without the pressure to have it all figured out. Here, it's not about hustle culture or perfection. It's about coming home to yourself, simplifying the noise, and choosing to live well on your own terms. So pour your coffee, take a walk, or hide in your closet for some peace and quiet. You're safe here. Hey friends, welcome back to Living Simple and Well. I am so glad you're here today because we're talking about something that I personally think affects a lot of us and often goes unnoticed. And that is high functioning anxiety. Today we're going to talk about what high functioning anxiety actually is, how it shows up in daily life, and practical ways to move from that constant state of tension to something calmer, softer, and more grounded. We'll get real. I'm going to share some of my personal stories, and we're going to explore tools that you can actually start using today. I had to bust out the ring light today for recording because it is peak gloomy here. And while I am over the moon excited about the coziest office day, even recorded a fun little cozy office tour for Instagram this morning, it doesn't lead to the best lighting for such creation of content like a podcast episode. However, we have the coziest, if you're watching on video, you see it, candle here. It is giving anthro vibes, and it's from Aldi's for $7. It smells amazing, and I must use the vessel for something. Probably will make my own, refill the candle with my own wax over and over for spooky season because it is just giving all of the Halloween, October, fall vibes. I'm very into it. But all that to say, I am in my cozy sweatshirt with the blanket, and it has officially taken on the 60-degree temperatures. Although, the other morning it was 40 degrees, and I thought to myself, when I asked for cooler weather, I meant 60s, not 40s. We literally had 80-degree weather the first week of October here. It was so hot, I was trying to bring fall in with my wardrobe choices and sweating at school pickup almost every day. So it definitely was not ideal, but right now it's 58, and I'm okay with that. I could do without the rain, although a good, gloomy, rainy day every once in a while is nice, but it seems like the cooler weather has brought in rain with it. So I'm looking forward to cool weather, no rain, if you know what I mean. So for the longest time, I had what I know now is high-functioning anxiety. On the outside, I looked like I had it all together. I was organized, productive, always on top of things. People probably thought, literally, she's always so together. But inside, I was tight, wired, overthinking every little thing, constantly trying to control outcomes that I couldn't control, and feeling guilty for even taking a break. It's kind of a funny paradox, really. You're doing all of the things, but somehow still exhausted and tense. I had one particularly overwhelming week recently, which I've talked about in a recent episode, that actually led me to a panic attack that I couldn't get myself out of. I've had small ones, or smaller ones, I'll call them, here and there, but I am usually able to do what I know to do, some of those practices we'll talk about today, and get myself out of it pretty quickly. This one was different. I had been through a really tough month where I had broken ties with someone close to me, found myself questioning the direction of my professional life, and on top of that, I was trying to juggle the usual work, parenting, and personal goals, and I just snapped internally. I found myself at my doctor's office that day and later that week with my therapist as well, because help doesn't hurt, friends. I realized, okay, something has to change. I cannot keep living like this. That's when I really started investing in myself with both tools that were new to me and tools that I had at my disposal but wasn't using intentionally. Tools like therapy, journaling, breath work, and small daily rituals that over time I started to feel lighter, more present, and more grounded. And yes, I still have anxious days, but now I notice them a little bit sooner. I respond more intentionally, and I don't let the anxiety run my life. So what exactly is high-functioning anxiety? Well, I'm not a doctor or therapist by any means, but it's been described to me and felt like personally anxiety that's often hidden because you're outwardly successful or together. People oftentimes may not even know you're struggling. I want to give you some common signs. It shows up as perfectionism and overthinking. If you're chronically over preparing or overachieving, if you have difficulty saying no, if you're feeling restless or tense when life looks calm, if you're finding yourself people pleasing or over apologizing. It's basically like wearing a mask. Everything looks fine on the outside, but inside your mind is spinning. And the tricky part, because we're high functioning, we can maintain productivity. And that sometimes makes it even harder to notice when anxiety is there or creeping up to that point. So the good stuff. What actually helps? These are some tools and mindset shifts that I've learned and practiced over the years. Some mindset shifts. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment. Remind yourself that your worth is not tied to your productivity. That was a big one that I had to acknowledge. And find daily affirmations and say them out loud. Ones that are aligned with the season of life that you're in and that matter to you. Mine change depending on the season I'm in, but I'd actually like to share my current ones with you to hopefully inspire you to create some of your own. I am creating a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. I am aligned with opportunities that allow me to make money with ease, purpose, and joy. My body is open, ready, and safe to receive new life when the time is right. I am stepping fully into the woman I'm meant to be, confident, calm, and deeply connected to myself. I honor my boundaries as an act of self-love, protecting my peace and preserving my energy. Every choice I make reflects the life I am intentionally creating for myself and my family. I release control and trust that what's meant for me will never miss me. I take 5 minutes to take some deep breaths, step outside in the first morning sun, and say these out loud. I look to the sky, face the sun, and I thank God for a new day. And literally say something I love to tell my daughter before school every morning. It's a great day to have a great day. The next thing are some emotional regulation practices. Journaling to process your thoughts instead of ruminating. Meditation or breath work to calm the nervous system. I lean into breath work a bit more. I have found meditation as an overthinker and somebody that has a hard time shutting my brain off to be a little bit harder. Grounding exercises. These are some of my favorite ways, especially if I feel a panic attack creeping in. Walk barefoot outside, notice your senses, feel your feet on the floor. I also love to pair that with a high protein meal because sometimes that is just what you need, is fuel for your body to break out of that. Setting boundaries. This is learning to say no without having guilt attached to it, protecting your time and energy. And a good example of this is to turn your notifications off after a certain time or limit social media feeds. Creating routines that actually support calm. So some morning rituals, gentle stretches, journaling, quiet coffee before the chaos. Some evening rituals, reflecting, gratitude journaling again, and wind down practices. I oftentimes find gratitude journaling to be what I lean towards in the evenings, and I like to brain dump in the mornings. Small intentional pauses throughout the day to check in with yourself. I love a post-lunch 15-minute walk. This also is a little digestion trick as well, but I love it for just clearing my mind and giving myself a bit of renewed energy for the rest of my day, especially when I've got an admin-heavy day or I've been on the computer quite frequently. Seek support. There is nothing wrong with support, friends. Therapy, coaching, or even just a trusted friend or community who gets it. Speaking your thoughts aloud can reduce their power over you. Gradual exposure to imperfection. This is big. As a recovering perfectionist and somebody that still struggles with this to this day, practice letting go of minor control triggers, like not color coding your day perfectly. Slowly, your mind learns that it's safe to release the need for constant control. I want you to take a moment with me to reflect. I'd like you to ask yourself, where in my life am I overperforming just to feel safe? What small step can I take today to feel more grounded? How would it feel to let go of just one thing that's out of my control? Even if you feel like pausing the podcast right here and writing those down. You don't have to fix everything at once. Grounded living is a practice. It's a series of small, intentional choices that slowly shift your nervous system, your perspective, and your peace of mind. I want to share a recent win that shows just how well this actually works. I set a boundary with my phone around late night emails and scrolling. It felt uncomfortable at first because I am a constant checker on things, but I noticed my evenings became calmer and I slept better. This reminded me, grounded living is possible. even for those of us who've spent years living in constant tension. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. Small shifts matter. So friends, if you take one thing from this episode, let it be this. You don't have to keep running on that constant on mode. Grounded living is a choice, a practice, and it's available to you right now. This week, try one grounding practice, journaling, a 5-minute breathwork session, saying no to something small. I want you to notice how it shifts your energy. If you want to share your wins with me on Instagram or send me a DM at Living Simple and Well, I'd love to celebrate your progress with you. Next week, I'll be sharing more on my journey of trying to conceive, managing this anxiety, and learning surrender without giving up hope. Until then, remember friends, calm isn't the absence of chaos. It's showing up grounded in the middle of it. You've got this.